Some people say, as good as you give, as good as you get. And I believe there's a lot of truth in that. You see, how we function has a major effect of the outcome. And it's really, 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 really important to understand that. Because sometimes in life, we just go through, do things, our actions, our thoughts, our words, our feelings, and we don't realize the consequences. And it's really, really, really important. And one of the reasons why we don't realize the consequences is that we only think about our needs. What I need, me. We don't have this ability to look at the bigger picture, the wider environment, society as a whole. What am I doing? Is it good for society? Is it good for those around me, etc.? And one of the other reasons why we get lost is we don't necessarily have good guidance. Of course, when we're at school, when we're young, we have teachers. But the teachers tend to just teach a particular subject. They don't really teach us about ourselves, who we are. And therefore, sometimes in life, we have a lack of guidance. And when we don't have the right type of guidance, then what happens is, ultimately, we plod along and we just hope for the best. And I've been one of those independent persons who actually found that my way of doing things was, okay, I will adventure, I will make the inquiries, I will try and look for some guidance, but my way. I never seriously thought about a guru. I never seriously thought about a spiritual teacher. I never realized actually there is a difference between one person and another person who wants to get some help. And it's really, 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 really important because our association determines so much in our life. And I've never realized it more than now here inside ISKCON. And why? Why? Because I've realized it? Because taking the right association with people who just want to help you and help you and help you is very different than living in the normal material world where people just want something from you and want something from you and want something from you. And therefore, unfortunately, sometimes in the material world, people have ulterior motives to why they want to help you, why they want to give you some guidance. They want you either to have their belief, they want to give you, they want you to give them your money, your heart, your body, your life. People always want something from us, but with the right type of guidance, it's very, very, very different. You see, for a long time in my life, I felt, do you know what? I don't believe in one guru, I don't believe in one God, I don't believe in one religion, I don't believe in one faith. And I just constructed my own little philosophy, and it seemed to work. But do you know what? It didn't really work. It didn't really work because what I did was I selected the good things in life and pushed away all the bad things. But what I didn't realize is if you just grab all the things that are good in your life, then you don't really learn much. You just stay as you are. Why am I talking about this today? Because today I'm reading the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam as translated by Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, first canto, chapter 6, text 3. And in this particular verse, Vasudeva is asking or inquiring about from Narada Muni, how comes coming from a normal maidservant's son did he become so spiritualized, become such an important sage? And it's really, really, really important to understand this. Firstly, a lot of people think that if we've had a bad life or we've committed sins or offenses in the past, then our lives are going to be blighted. Well, actually, no, it's not. Even if you come from a most simple home, you don't need to have the aristocracy, you don't need to have the wealth, you don't need to have the prestige. If we've made mistakes in lives or we've just had a very simple life, it doesn't mean that we are disadvantaged in any way. In fact, it's the opposite. Because sometimes when we are disadvantaged, we find that sometimes there are people out there who just want to help us. And it's very, 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 very beautiful. And by taking the right type of guidance and association, which is what this verse is all about, it's quite possible that we can actually influence, or they can influence us in a very positive way to move forward with our lives, rather than just be stuck in a simple world. And what I mean by simple world is sometimes we feel sorry for us, we feel deprived, we don't have the status, we don't have the etiquette, we don't have the job, we don't have the title, we don't have necessarily the right people around us to actually move forward in our lives. But the Lord is very, very beautiful in this regard, because he doesn't prejudice anyone. He doesn't feel that people, because they committed a sin or offence in the past, are less deserved. He doesn't feel that people who come from a simple life are less deserved either. What he's more interested in is discovering how interested we are in moving ourselves forward. How can we somehow or other determine how much love we're prepared. Actually, that's not really the right way of putting it, actually. Excuse me about that. What we need to do is just to see how much we can appreciate what we've already been given in life, and in response, maybe the Lord will just help us through and through and through our hard times, our problematic times, so that we can have an equal opportunity to succeed in life by finding some true love. And that's the beauty about finding true love. It sounds a bit strange to say finding true love, because most people think I found true love. But no, there is a difference between what we assume is true love, what I call material love, and real love. And what is the difference between that? Well, material love, to me, through my life experiences, I was married for 10 years, I was then married for a second wife for 22 years, then I had a serious relationship for 5 years. So 37 years worth of serious relationships. I thought I had found love, but no, what I had was lusting, because the type of love we have in society is all about me, I, my desires, my needs, my wants, my wishes. So, when working with ourselves through Krishna Consciousness, we start to lose the I, me, mine. Not because we program ourselves in such a way, it just slightly happens to dissipate by way of purification. And it's very, 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 very beautiful. But the only way that we're going to know which path to go down is to take some guidance. Because if we just do things our way, based on what we've done it in the past, it may not be so conducive to what we need to do to move ourselves forward. You see, when we take guidance from someone who's more of a pure soul, who has a more direct contact with the Lord, then, as the Lord's representative, he teaches us through them. And it's very, 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 very beautiful. Very, very beautiful indeed. So in the case of Narada Muni, he came from a very simple home, simple family life, but then became one of our greatest sages, because the Lord gave him an opportunity to transform his life. And it's very, 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 very beautiful. He dedicated his life to serving the Lord by chanting the Lord's name, to read and study, and to engage with other people. And that's very, 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 very beautiful. So, the question I have for you is this. Do you feel that you are less privileged, you have lesser opportunities? I hope with what I've said to you now, maybe you'll realise actually there isn't any limitations. It's only our mindset that actually causes these limitations. But the Lord is willing, he's willing to help us, he's willing to help each of us fallen souls out of where we are and start to transform our lives. It doesn't matter about your background, it doesn't matter what you've done, it doesn't matter what all the sins you may have done. I've done lots of sins in my past. But no, the Lord's prepared to clear the decks and start us afresh. All we have to do is to have the right intention, the right endeavour, with his guidance and with the guidance of our spiritual masters. It puts us on a good footing to transform ourselves and to become a better version of ourselves. And who knows, maybe one day the Lord might say, you're pure enough to come back to the spiritual world. We live in hope. But we don't even need to worry about that, because everything is by the Lord's arrangement, and when He feels we're ready, is only the time when we're ready. So, the board is in your court now. Do you feel that you would like to take some more guidance? Maybe you would like to speak to someone. If you do and you want some advice on it, feel free to comment on the video, and I'll happily try and put you in touch with someone who can give you some guidance. But meanwhile, this conversation is the Lord's way of communicating with you, and there's a reason why He's communicating with you, because He wants you to hear a certain message. So don't feel limited in your life. Don't feel this is all that you can have. There is so much more potential. And the reason why I know it is because I've experienced it. I've seen the changes. I've seen, just by having the right type of people around me, chanting the Lord's name, reading the Lord's name, all combined together, has been very transformative. Although I've got so more work to do, so much more work to do, but the changes are starting to become visible. The signposts are there, and it's very beautiful. So the ball is now in your court. Are you ready to take up a challenge to really gain something more about your life, about your purpose, and of course your soul connection with the Lord? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.